Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sel.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 8, Kirsten and Shaq. Real quick, they didn't have a whole lot going on this episode, but just want to touch on a couple of things. Number one, Kirsten's apartment.
Empty.
That was bizarre for me. I mean, most of the time, women, although we can be really organized, and when I say we, I don't really mean me, because but as a whole, we as women, we can be very organized in our living spaces, but we usually have a lot of things. So it was really bizarre to see a woman in this situation who was living so minimalistically. I think even more so maybe than Nate from last season. And there was very little in her apartment, very little in her refrigerator. Her bedroom was without furniture, no, dresser,
Nightstand.
Nothing, and the only thing that seemed full, although Shaq had comments to make about it, it wasn't that bad. It was her closet. I mean, she looked like she had a lot of shoes. They weren't stacked in boxes or anything like that, but they were all mated together. You could tell the pairs were together. Her clothes were hung up however she wanted to hang them up.
That was hilarious.
And folded and everything.
Why don't you have it hanging on the hanger? I mean, I could laugh at that all day long. But
that was such a man thing to say. Of course, as women, we immediately knew it's probably strapless, and she probably cut the little clear straps off because most of us don't like those clear straps to stay on. We don't keep them so we can just hang stuff up. So if we have like a strapless romper or something like that, we're going to hang it over the hanger.
Yeah.
That's just...
I ain't buying it. Anyways.
We're not going to let y'all mansplain how we supposed to hang up our strapless garments, okay?
You're just trying to bail out. We don't know if that was strapless or not.
It was strapless.
It was just laid across the hanger.
She has a perfect body for a strapless top. Perfect.
Not buying it.
Anyway,
but that was that apartment.
Her apartment was barren. It was pretty empty.
It was,
and definitely surprising to see, even so much so as to make it be a comment worthy thing to talk about on the after party as well. It was striking. And Shaq was struck by it. But I feel like at the very least, because he seems like a very organized, kind of neat guy, he should feel like, well, it shouldn't be hard to keep it neat. Because the number one thing that contributes to like junkiness is having junk. And she doesn't have any.
That's stuff for that closet. He said that gave him anxiety.
I mean, maybe, but that's because he's like very metro and like probably over organized. Her closet wasn't that bad. It would have been simple to move a few things around and box up those shoes. It wouldn't have been a problem. So, I don't think. But yeah, other than that, like she had very few things. No wall hangings, no pictures of people. Just, I don't know. I've seen dorms more decorated than that. Most dorms are more decorated than that, honestly.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with guys. I've seen it with me. I've been very, very minimal in some of my apartments. So I do get it, but from a man guy, from a
man guy,
yeah, from a guy. But from a woman, I've never seen. I've never seen a woman, have such non-existent stuff in her apartments or houses. I've never seen that before.
So the other thing that I would bring up, and this will probably be it for these two, is just the sit down with Pastor Cal. I thought it was very interesting for him to ask if there's any chemistry and for them to have different answers, right? We spoke a little bit about this because the knee-jerk reaction to that was Kirsten saying, no, not really, is there any chemistry? And then when asked of Shaq, his response was, I think there's a little chemistry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not how chemistry works, right? Like, chemistry is based upon, like, a reaction. You have two or more things reacting to one another. And if one thing is not reactive, then the other thing, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have two things working in tandem. That's what chemistry is, right?
Yeah, that is what chemistry
so
is.
If one person says there's not chemistry, there probably isn't. What it leaves you to is like maybe one person is attracted to the other person, but there's still no chemistry because it's not working together.
Yeah. To me, it seemed like he was trying to bail her out a little bit, to say, you're not totally cold because you lay on me. You know what I mean?
Do you think he was trying to bail her out though, or he just didn't want to look bad? Because that's how I read it. I don't know that it matters to him as much if she looks bad or not. Mm-hmm. I think it's embarrassing to have gotten to this point in the process, and to have the person sitting next to you who's supposed to be your spouse sit here and say we have no chemistry. It's like, wait a minute, don't say that. We got chemistry. This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And that's how I took it.
I wasn't thinking about it on his side. To me, it just seemed like, that's his wife, or he's getting to know his wife, and, he wanted to protect her just a little bit, to me. But that's, my thought process of for if I thought that you were getting a little tongue tied or about something or whatever the case, and I would try to, like, that's my wife. No, she gives me plenty of affection. You know what I mean?
And then if that happened, if that was said and that was your response, I would read it the exact same way as I just said I was doing it for Shaq. Yeah. I would be like, oh, that probably embarrassed him. He probably doesn't want it to present like, I'm not giving you any affection, so you gonna clean it up. Like, no. That's not what's happening. Don't think it's dry over here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what he was doing. No, let me know what you guys think about that. That's how it read to me. Like, he was trying to cover it up. He didn't want it to seem as bad as what it was because it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Maybe, possibly, but I think it probably would have benefited him in the marriage a little bit more if he didn't kind of like try to come to the rescue, or not like or try to shield off his embarrassment. So I think he probably should have kept his mouth closed and be like, yeah, it could be better or something, but I'm patient or whatever, and do you see yourself actually being attracted to me, eventually? Have you gotten past this bald head thing that you keep bringing up, And for me, if it was me, I would be asking a little bit more questions as far as, who did you date in the past, and what did they look like? What type of attraction did you have for these, guys?
Yeah.
And to see where I'm measuring up and where I'm not, and can you bridge? You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? That's the tough thing. Like, I don't know if it's all physical. I feel like a lot of chemistry is kind of unseen and unspoken. It's just like kind of vibe related. It's not all like, what exactly does this person look like?
Yeah. For me, and a lot of times is what that person is
really
like.
We're gonna have to talk about this off screen.
Yeah.
Because that's a very interesting. Maybe we'll end up doing a sidebar about that as well. Like, what composes chemistry, because I think it might be a very different outlook from women to men.
Yeah, but you know what? For Kirsten, she's saying that she loves his personality and he has a big personality and all of this stuff. The only negatives is his physical. So it has to be, for her at least.
No, that wasn't the only negative, because remember she was saying how he jokes too much and stuff. Like, I think there's other things. Like, this will be a very interesting conversation. Whether we make it into a sidebar or not, it'll be a very interesting conversation.
Possibly.
So yeah, I mean, I'm curious if they're going to get to a point where she feels like there's any chemistry. Because I feel like eventually, probably at least halfway through this process or so, he's going to get real frustrated if he continues to feel like she feels like there's no chemistry. Because again, if she feels like there's no chemistry, then there's going to be no chemistry. Yeah. So it's going to wear on him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, we don't have a lot of good couples here. So I'm grasping on for dear life to Kirsten and Shaq, but they're scaring me right now.
You might as well try to grab on the air. You can't grab.
You cannot tell me that Nicole and Chris is going to be the only couple to survive this.
Nicole and Chris is the official power couple of this season. Who would have thought?
I can't stomach that one.
You know, I mean, insecurity is strong with this one. And I mean, it's just like off the chart insecurity. And so long term.
For who? Nicole and Chris?
For Nicole and Chris.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry for not making that clear. Nicole and Chris, yes. Insecurity is very strong with them. And so they're strong right now because they actually are doing some good groundwork as far as communicating with one another. But eventually those insecurities are going to run wild. If you don't do the actual work to take care of those, yeah, they're going to have some issues down the road.
Well, we'll see. Likewise about Kirsten and Shaq. Drop your comments below about them, where you think this is going. I know they didn't have a whole lot of content this week, but I'm still always very intrigued to see if they grow any in that chemistry department. So I think we're still at ground zero.
Definitely ground zero. And, I don't feel good about Kirsten and Shaq. I've never felt good about Kirsten and Shaq.
I'm not going to hop on board yet. Yeah. I'm not going to hop on board. So, okay. Anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe. Like I said, drop your comments below. We'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.